My name is Angie Whitehurst, and your name is?
Elise Bryant.
Welcome. Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. We're going to ask one question, and that is, within your work life, can you tell us about something that you contributed that you feel valuable and good about, and happy and proud?
How much time do we have?
The week.
Okay, alrighty. What came to my mind is my first love is theater. And when I was a little kid in Southwest Detroit, we used to put a blanket on the clothesline with clothespins and have a show. And even though I wasn't the oldest person in our little group, I was always the MC. And so I got into theater, but when I went to college, I went into pre-med because that's what you're supposed to do. I did theater on the side. In 1974, I joined a feminist theater company called Workers' Lives, Workers' Stories. In 1982, Joyce Kornblue and Hy Kornblue, the directors of the Labor Studies Center at the University of Michigan, invited me to start a labor theater project. And it was called Workers' Lives, Workers' Stories. And we gathered people from unions in our area. Some people were unions. One woman was a woman who did not work outside the home. And the other woman was not union member, but she worked in the industry. Anyway, it was a mixed group of folks. So we did that for a long time. And then I came here in 1997 to teach at the National Labor College. And I was asked to teach a course. They needed a humanities course other than English. And I said, how about labor theater? So I created this course called Labor Theater. And every year, people who needed a humanities requirement would come and take this class. Most of them didn't know nothing about theater, and often they would say, oh, the missus makes me go see Les Miserables, or I had to see, Cats, or something like that. But we would start with the Greeks, really, and we read Waiting for Lefty. We read I Just Wanted Somebody to Know, which is a women's play that was written by Joyce Kornblue and another woman. And third play was the play by Oyamo, about the Martin Luther King assassination. The title just went out of my head. Anyway, we'd read those three plays, and then we'd go see a play. And after the play, we'd have another class, and we'd meet together, and we would discuss the play. And every time in class, at some point, this happened in every class, they would stop, one person would stop and go, whoa, wait a minute, why are we talking like this? I go, talking like what? He said, why are we talking like this thing? I said, you like analyzing the play? He said, yeah. You're like making us talk like this. Like, no, I'm not. I'm not making you talk like this. You have a context. You studied the history of theater, and you just saw a live play, and now you've taken that knowledge and applied it to what you learned. And I thank Karen Rowe, who taught me about participatory teaching techniques, and Paulo Freire, and the pedagogy of the oppressed, and all that. And I learned that by doing it, they would take in the information more. And always, there was one person, usually the class clown, who would say something really profound. And the whole class would turn around and go, Chuck? And he'd go, yeah? You just said that. And he'd go, yeah. And it was like, because their potential, the imaginative potential was unleashed. And because they had a language and a common experience, they could talk about it in a way that deepened the process. So years later, people would come back to the college and take other classes, and they would come to me and they'd call me up and they'd see me in the hallway and go, me and the missus went to see a show last week. And what they did was they stopped going to the big shows and they would go to the little shows. They would go to shows like this, working in DC, and be able to analyze and talk about the costumes, the set, the plot, the denouement, and the characterizations. And I just loved it. And I really felt like the gift and love of theater, but also theater that changes lives, theater that addresses real issues, I was able to pass that on and create a group of people who came back every year, and we had a little theater club. So the people who had never been in my class would come to go with us to go out to theater the night we went to see a show. And so I feel very fortunate.
That is awesome what you've done. Now I want you to talk a little bit about this festival you run every year.
Oh, the Great Labor Arts Exchange. Yes. In fact, that's what brought me to DC, to the DC area. It's actually held in Silver Spring, Maryland. And I was at a Labor Notes conference in Ypsilanti, Michigan. And Saul Schneiderman, who was president of ASPE Local at the Library of Congress, was a founder of the Labor Heritage Foundation, invited me to come here to the Great Labor Arts Exchange. And I was like, 3 days of labor songs? I can't imagine anything more boring. But I thought he was cute, so I said, yeah, sure, I'll come and do this. And he wanted me to be on a panel and talk about the Labor Theater Project. So I came, and I just loved it. I walked in the room, and it was mostly white people, you know, artists and singers and songwriters, mostly guys too with guitars. But Reverend Orange was at the front of the room talking about the Civil Rights Movement and the songs that inspired the Civil Rights Movement. And people started singing with him. And we were singing in 4-part harmony. And I looked around and I thought, I think I found another part of my tribe. It's a whole other group of people who know these songs and can sing these songs. And that's what hooked me in. And I've been coming ever since. And now I'm the director of the Labor Heritage Foundation. And I put together the Great Labor Arts Exchange every year.
Huge impact.
Oh. You know, it's people coming together. Yeah.
A lot to be happy about.
Thank you, sister. Appreciate it.